Hello and welcome to the Mystick Physick broadcast of Sidereal Insights Astro update. I'm 𝗍𝘀𝗶𝗵𝘁𝘀. I'm a soldier and artist of Mystick Physick Astrology. I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and to remember why you came into the world to begin with. So welcome to the broadcast. It's good to have you on. What we do here on the broadcast, every 2 weeks we go live to talk about the current planetary transits from a Western sidereal perspective, with the idea that we're going to give you insight into how you can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect your life in a positive way. If you need to look up sidereal sign placements for your own, you can use our easy online calculator at mystickphysick.com/sidereal tools to find out for free. And please like and share the broadcast. Tag a friend if you know that might get benefit from participating in today's discussion or going along with the sidereal transits. Feel free. Tag a friend. You can share this broadcast. You can also follow Mystick Physick Astrology on Facebook, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you never miss a broadcast. So let's talk a little bit about what's up for today. Right now we have six planets in retrograde. Now 8 is the most we could possibly have in retrograde, right? So 6 is a lot. And so we've been talking over the last couple of months about how things might seem like they're kind of going a little bit slower than normal right now, just due to the pace of things, or maybe even if you felt like, you've been going backwards in terms, rather than making progress. This can be why. We currently have Saturn and Pluto retrograde in Sagittarius, sidereally. We have Neptune retrograde in Aquarius. We have Uranus retrograde in Aries, Mars retrograde in Capricorn, and Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So no wonder it feels like we're moving backwards in a lot of different areas. Be patient. Things are about to shift and change. Let's talk a little bit about the most recent planetary retrograde, which is Uranus, which will be retrograde until early 2019, January. He retrograded on the 7th. He stationed retrograde just in the midst of a perfect trine to Saturn. And so what that means is for the coming several months through early January, we can expect Saturn's influence to color and affect how we experience this Mercury retrograde. It's nearly 5 months long. Excuse me, not Mercury, Uranus retrograde. It's a nearly 5-month-long retrograde, and Saturn too is kind of be a stabilizing influence to the normally rather disruptive and unpredictable behavior of Uranus, which is kind of our, our rebellious outer planet. What this means for us is that we may be required to step into new ways of doing things in order to move forward. It will become evident in the coming months where that's necessary. We might be faced with the glaring shortcomings of our habitual and traditional ways of doing things. So innovative thinking will become necessary to solve the problems that we'll be facing in the next 5 or so months. Which is all right, because what that means is that that change will actually be somewhat easier to implement, less disruptive to implement in a time frame than it might normally be. So in that sense, Saturn is actually quite helpful from this position. Okay, but like I was saying, relief is coming in terms of all this retrograde, so be patient. Mercury is going to be stationing direct in about 5 days. Now, they might seem like a really long 5 days, but Mercury will be stationing direct on August 18th. He'll be out of his retrograde shadow by the end of the month. So you can expect things to improve in the second half of August, and where Mercury is concerned, be back to normal by the time we hit September. We also have Mars stationing direct later this month on the 27th, so just a few days before Mercury leaves his shadow, Mars will also station direct. That's good news for most of us, because that means that tempers will kind of settle down. Frustrations and delays and irritations that we might be experiencing now, which might have a tendency to make us angrier than we might normally be, or more conflict oriented than we might normally be, that will taper off and settle down. once Mars stations direct and moves away from August 27th. And then in early September, Saturn is also going to join Mercury and Mars in stationing direct. So we're going to have a little bit of a reprieve from a few of these planetary retrogrades for about a month until early October when Venus joins the mix. But be patient, it's coming, just a couple short weeks there, and we'll have some direct activity soon. Eclipses, we've just been through eclipse season is actually winding down. We're coming out the rear end of it. We just had our final of 3 eclipses, the new moon partial solar eclipse in Cancer on the 11th of August. We had that eclipse at 23 degrees, 41 minutes of Cancer. So you'd want to check your sidereal natal chart for at 23 or 24 degrees if you have a planet or personal point near that degree or those degrees of a water or earth sign, you're likely to feel this particular eclipse pretty directly. Now, most people will have heard whatever news this eclipse is to deliver. Some folks, however, may be waiting for their news, which could come anytime between the 18th. It could come again next month near the new moon, and again in October near the new moon. So if you have a planet or a personal point near 23 or 24 degrees of a water or earth sign, and you haven't yet heard your eclipse news, keep an eye on those dates because that's when it would likely to be coming to you. Now, this is a particularly emotional eclipse. For those of you who are experiencing it and going through it, you may have noticed that. It can trigger events related to family or parents, especially the mother, or parenthood in general. It can trigger events related to home or real property. It can trigger events related to water, including the potential for floods or rains, or the lack of water, where water might be necessary. So definitely keep that in mind. It could also trigger events related to bodies of water, or domestic activity, or women and children, and again, home and family businesses may be affected by this particular eclipse. So if you do have family business, keep an eye out because you might feel the impact through your business. Now, you and those around you might be feeling particularly emotional or sentimental in the weeks around this particular new moon. And men can leave our lives at solar eclipses. So for some of you who've been affected personally, this may be a theme that has come up. Okay, this particular eclipse in Cancer is the continuation of a series which began in February 2017. So this eclipse series began February 2017, just over a year and a half ago, or right around a year and a half ago, and it's going to continue through January 2019, our final eclipse in the series, and it has the potential to reactivate themes which arose at our previous eclipse in this series. And those eclipses are in February and August of last year, and then we may see more activity around those themes come up in January of next year. Okay, and then we also had previous eclipses in this sequence in January of 2018. Okay, so those are kind of the dates that you would want to think back to see if you notice any recurring themes of activity which may have arisen. Now, this is perfect timing still to do your new moon intention setting. It's not too late for this practice. In fact, if you're starting something in conjunction with this new moon solar eclipse, or more appropriately, if you're restarting something in conjunction with this solar eclipse, today is the day that you would want to take your first action towards whatever that is. Now, typically we would encourage you at a new moon to set your intentions, to take action in the first light of the new moon, so about 2 or 3 days after the new moon itself. We do have Mercury retrograde right now, which is not necessarily a recommended time to begin anything major, to begin anything new. So keep in mind, if you're not restarting something in conjunction with this solar eclipse, you may want to hold off until our new moon in September or our new moon in October to take your first initiatory action. Now, you can still set your intentions right now. So this is still time to get clear about what outcome you want for whatever it is you're considering starting, and to spend some time visualizing what does that outcome look like. And then what you can do is at our new moon next month, or in October, excuse me, my cat is poking me. At our new moon next month or the month after, you can take your action then. Okay? Now, you can find the guided intention setting for the new moon solar eclipse in Cancer at mysticphysick.com/new-moon-intention-setting-8/11/2018. So the date of our new moon solar eclipse. And actually, I have the link right here. So I'll go ahead and copy and paste that into the comments for you. And that way, if you'd like to go through the guided practice, I'll walk you through some prompts for how you can set intentions for this particular new moon in alignment, if you choose, with the house that it falls in your sidereal natal chart. So there's a link to that particular broadcast on our website. But like I said, if you're restarting something in conjunction with this solar eclipse, you can go ahead and take your action today, and you would be fairly well supported to do that. Now, also right now, we have Venus transiting Virgo. So she began her 4.5-week-long transit in Virgo on the 1st of the month. And so that tends to bring kind of a sense of cooperation. When she is in Virgo, a sense of cooperation in terms of daily activities. Okay, so focus your efforts really right now through the end of August on partnering with others. You want to emphasize win-win outcomes and win-win solutions anywhere where you're partnering with someone else or working jointly on a project. So definitely, work towards compromise, work towards cooperation. Those things will be particularly well supported this month. But remember, don't enter into any long-term agreements just yet. Wait and see what the rest of August holds, in part because we have Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde, but also because the eclipses that have been ongoing will continue to have lingering effects through, potentially through them, as do the 2 retrogrades. So just be careful about entering into anything brand new, especially in terms of partnerships or agreements. Also coming up between now and the end of the month, full moon in sidereal Aquarius, and this particular full moon has the potential to give birth to humanitarian type endeavors, right? So you may feel energy to take action in support of causes which benefit your fellow human beings. Human rights issues potentially could come up or come to the forefront of our collective attention at that time, and it may be to the point of demanding action and social change, demanding something new, if that makes sense, or demanding an ending something to make room for something new, to make room for change. Okay, likely to be, social change, especially change which affects large populations of people. Okay, group activities may also come into focus during late August, so be aware of that potential. Now, you can learn more about the full moon, Aquarius, and how it might affect you specifically at the website at mysticphysick.com/sidereal monthly horoscopes. Visit the website for a more detailed monthly forecast. You'll get highly customized advice for every sign, and you'll want to read for both your sidereal sun and rising signs to make sure that you get a complete picture of what you can expect and how you can use the energies that we'll be encountering in the second half of the month. Now, also, while you're there, check out what's new. Current eclipse transits, we have a new video on the blog If you happen to catch one of my previous live streams that was right here on Mystick Physick Astrology on the Facebook page, you may not need to watch it. However, if you missed that broadcast, you'll want to watch the particular video about the 2018 eclipse critical dates and degrees for July and August of this year. Bring your sidereal natal chart when you sit down to watch that practice, and bring your calendar, because we're going to go over particular degrees that you'll want to look at to know if you're going to be affected. We'll talk about how you will be affected depending on which signs those degrees are in. And we're also talking in that video about dates to watch in the coming 12 months if you happen to be personally affected by any of the eclipses that we've just been through, the 2 in July and this most recent one in August. So that's a valuable video. It's going to give you advice on what to expect for the entire coming year if you happen to be personally affected. And then you can also have our Eclipse Essentials video while you're there if you choose. Just over in just some things you may want to know, have an easier time navigating eclipse season, what to expect and how eclipses can affect us. And then join me in the Sidereal Insights Astrology community here on Facebook on the 24th, August 24th at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time for the full moon in Aquarius guided releasing practice. Like I said, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 2:30 a.m. British Standard Time if you're catching us from UK, and 11:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time if you're joining us from Australia. You'll want to catch that live. And then, of course, be sure to like our Facebook page so that you can catch whenever we go live, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Trying to think if we have any more announcements. I think the main one is that you can now pre-order your ultimate astrological planner for 2019. We have launched some new variations this year, so you may find something that really appeals to you. We have a new disc-bound version that we've released this year, and then we also have an academic planner that has come out new this year. And for a limited time only, you can get 20% off of your ultimate astrological planner order if you use the coupon code presale at checkout. Now that's only valid at mystickphysick.com, okay? And that coupon will expire when the presale ends, which is the end of this week, so don't wait on that. Go ahead and order in now. All the planners will ship either the second half of August or early September, depending on the style that you're ordering. But you can check those out at mystickphysick.com/2019. You can have a look at the full selection of day planners and monthly planners that we have available for you with color-coded dates so that you know the best dates for love, for luck, for business, and Mercury's retrogrades for 2019. And that way you'll never miss a Mercury retrograde, and you'll have an easier time planning your life in alignment with the astrological cycles. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the Sidereal Insights Astro Update. Please, like I said, like and share this broadcast if you found it helpful, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.